a trade in the National Football League.
Didn't see this one coming.
But as always, well,
we sort of
no, hold on a minute. Interesting that you say that, TJ, because I was about to rewind a little bit to a couple of summers ago when DeAndre Hopkins was on the move. And he and the Arizona Cardinals parted ways after four successful seasons there, after his successful tenure with the Houston Texans. 3 seasons in Arizona, 7 with the Texans. And I thought he would either go to your team, TJ, with the Dallas Cowboys, put the star on the side of his helmet, let him start taking away attention from CeeDee Lamb. And at the time, Michael Gallup could have used his help as well.
We don't do things that make sense, apparently, Rich.
Well, I don't know if it's a cap or because they knew they had to sign Dak at some point and CeeDee Lamb. So I don't know how far back the current narratives go with why certain stars have not been signed to put the star on the side of their helmet to supplement the stars that they've drafted in Dallas. But I thought that he was either going to your team, TJ, or he was going to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I thought, why wouldn't the Chiefs go ahead and sign him? Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, they had just drafted, Rashee Rice. They were the defending champs, and I thought this was it. And certainly since after they had just beaten the Philadelphia Eagles, one of the tweets a lot of people saw was during the game, DeAndre Hopkins tweeted out, Patrick Mahomes is different with some eyes on it. And not telling tales out of school, not on a very long limb like right there, but
I remember that.
At some point during the game, I don't know when, maybe it was when he was running. You remember on a big gimpy ankle, remember we had ankle watch all the way leading up to that Super Bowl, and on his gimpy ankle, he runs for a first down right up the middle, and maybe that's when it was. Could have been any of his throws. Could have been the throw to win the game. I don't know. But whatever it was, he decided to reach for his phone and go, Patrick Mahomes is different. And, okay, so that's why you would want to play with him, right? Didn't. Signed with the Tennessee Titans, which was a choice.
That we didn't understand.
Because also, in his remarkable career, one of 16 wide receivers with 12,500 or more receiving yards and 75 or more receiving touchdowns in NFL history, and 10 of the other 15 are Hall of Famers, and the others are Larry Fitzgerald, Steve Smith Sr., Reggie Wayne, Anquan Bolden, Irving Fryer. How about that? It's a name we haven't mentioned around here, if ever. And he's one of 3 wide receivers to be a first-team All-Pro in 3 or more seasons since 2017. The others are Devontae Adams 3 times and Tyreek Hill 4 times. And one of the many reasons why Tyreek Hill has done it 4 times is because of the quarterback we thought DeAndre Hopkins was going to go play with. But he didn't. And now he will.
Just like that.
Because the Kansas City Chiefs traded for him this morning. It is rumored to be for a 5th-round draft choice. That could become a 4th.
Oh, okay.
Who knows what those
my goodness
potential guardrails are to potentially make this a 4th-round choice for the Tennessee Titans. But for
literally a bag of footballs would cost more. Like a bag full of them.
And this stat we know for sure is going to be erased. One would think. I shouldn't say for sure, but only 3 wide receivers that's been a 3 or more 3-time first-team All-Pro or more to have never played in a conference championship in their careers. Calvin Johnson, Sterling Sharp, and DeAndre Hopkins. One would think he's got a real good shot to remove himself from that list since the team he just joined has made it to that round of the playoffs for the last 6 years in a row. Now then, to what many of you might be thinking, including, I believe, the guy who's in the 10 o'clock position from me right now. What has Hopkins done lately? Don't mean to put words in your mouth, but I can kind of feel it from you, Chris. What has he done lately? Averaging a career low 2.5 receptions per game and 28.8 receiving yards per game in this season, which he has only one singular touchdown. Is it because Will Levis has been spending much of his time while being the starter throwing it to the other team? Or is it because DeAndre Hopkins isn't that guy anymore?
Bad example, Rich, because he's now playing with the player who leads the league in interceptions.
There you go. That's true. One of the many reasons why the Chiefs decided to make this maneuver. Right now, Mahomes is tied for the most interceptions in the league with 8. Tied with Gardner Minshew and Jordan Love, I might add. Mahomes' current passing yards per game, touchdown to interception ratio, passer rating, giveaways per game are dead last for him in terms of his career rankings. The Chiefs' offense, just a mere 24.3 points per game, second fewest in the NFL. Total yards per game, passing yards per game, that's the fewest. Rushing yards per game, 128.8 yards, that's the most. So they've been running it, they've been playing defense, and they have been trying to make sure that whatever Mahomes is doing, giving the ball away, or whatever's occurring on offense that leads to the ball being given away by Mahomes doesn't cash on the scoreboard. And sure enough, that's worked. They're 6-0. So what to make of this acquisition? Here's the way I see it. Last year, when I was in London and I saw DeAndre Hopkins for the Tennessee Titans before he was taking on the Baltimore Ravens, and I saw him standing on their walkthrough practice next to Derrick Henry, and I thought to myself, these guys are going to have busts in Canton, and there they are standing next to each other, and this team is struggling. What gives? And I thought to myself, what's going on with DeAndre Hopkins? And I started asking around, and some of the people on the Tennessee sidelines and some of the people with Tennessee were kind of like shrugging their shoulders because they said DeAndre Hopkins was as fast as ever, that their GPS monitoring of him was, he didn't lose a step. He has actually gotten faster. He's like a fine wine. He's aging well. Okay? So there's that. Just keep that in your mind's eye. That was right about a year ago. And obviously, you know, people can fall off a cliff very fast in the NFL. And he is also, in my mind's eye, one of the greatest receivers in getting his feet down and running his routes where they're supposed to be that I've ever seen. Whenever there's a throw to DeAndre Hopkins on the sideline, you're wondering, did he get his feet down? You don't have to wonder. He did. Mm-hmm. Like he did. And that's like 99.9% of the time. So what I think is this is a terrific acquisition for the Kansas City Chiefs. It is exactly what will help this offense move the chains. And is he going to take the top of the defense off? No, which is why I think some Chiefs fans are still holding out hope that maybe Tyreek Hill could go back there, that they could let bygones or whatever bygones be gone. And the Dolphins would just look around and say, let's get him out of here and send him back to Kansas City. He's not going to do that. But what he will do is give yet another option to Mahomes, you know, running routes just like Kelsey, that's going to kill somebody on a third down over and over and over again. And inside the red zone, if they're not giving it to Kareem Hunt 3 times, or Pacheco when he comes back, and you're double covering Kelsey, you got a guy who's just going to get open and be exactly where Mahomes needs him. And in terms of what this might mean for the locker room, as if it needs any help, I don't know. But how do you think they feel right there? You know, right now? How do you think they feel right there? That they're like, okay, is there any complacency of, yeah, we've won 2 in a row, 3 in a row? Okay. They don't get that sense at all, but it's just like, okay, all right, we're gonna be smart about it. We'll give up a 5 that could be a 4. So what? And you bring in DeAndre Hopkins, and he walks into that locker room, and there's D-Hop. That's another Hall of Famer for the Hall of Famer Mahomes to throw to. And maybe they're not done. I don't know. Maybe they add one more wide receiver. Why the hell not? I mean, I had my fun the other day saying that when Mike Williams was losing his spot in the rotation for the Jets, that don't worry, don't feel bad for him. He's going to catch the game-winning pass for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
That still probably holds true.
I don't know. Maybe it's D-Hop now. I mean, again, he's a big name that hasn't done very much lately. He doesn't miss games. He played in every single game he could for the Tennessee Titans. All 23 possible games with Tennessee since 23 played with him. And last year, he had 1,000 yards receiving.
How?
7 touchdowns. So let me ask you this question. Over under 6 touchdowns in 11 games for DeAndre Hopkins with the Chiefs. What do you take?
Under.
TJ?
All the way up.
I'll do the same thing. I'll go over. I'll go over.
It's just not what their offense is.
Meaning what?
They're just not a pass-first team.
They're not.
They're a run team, and they play defense. So,
right.
Yes, D-Hop is going to move the chains. He's probably going to get a huge third down here in the fourth quarter of a game. Mahomes has been really good in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Not so good in the first 3 this season. But I just worry you guys are just falling for the name. And what type of impact this is going to be.
Well, I just know what he can do and what the Chiefs are going to do with him and how smart they are in terms of coordinating for Mahomes and what Mahomes needs, And in terms of last year's problems that there were so many drops, that's one thing he's not going to do either.
That's true.
So and it'll cost you as a 4th-round draft choice. And you get DeAndre Hopkins for Mahomes after all, and we will see. We will see. I'm just kind of wondering, what I mean, that you're this is now this show, the Overreaction Monday pod as well. You're digging away.
I'm absolutely not doing that.
No. You're digging away at the Chiefs are not a good offensive team.
I think the metrics kind of show that.
Right, they do. Statistically, the metrics show that.
So I don't know why you're giving me pushback about that.
I'm not giving you pushback about the statistics. I'm giving you the pushback of the humans inside the helmets and in the shoulder pads, who, when push comes to shove on a 3rd and 4, are going to beat you. And if they haven't beaten you all day because of that, in the fourth quarter they will. And they just added another guy that'll do that.
I think those things are different, but okay.
Okay.
Look, like I've said, the numbers don't always tell the story. And any number you're saying about them not being good, bottom line is when the game's on the line and you've got to make that pass, you've got to make that run, you've got to get that first down, even if he's 0 for 11, he's going to be 1 for 12 when the game's really on the line. That's just how I look at him.
It's week 7. Let's just see. Let's just see what happens.
But you say that's week 7, but it's year 7, year 6 we've already seen what this guy.
Well, the Chiefs have 11 more regular season games, and then obviously the most important ones that come, and he's finally got the best chance of his entire career to win a Super Bowl. It'll be interesting when he takes on Houston, right? One of his former teams, and we'll see, obviously. But it just makes things more interesting and more exciting, I think, for Chiefs fans. And then just one more name, if he does perform very well, one more name for Jerry Jones to have brought up to him on a Tuesday when he appears on his radio station conversation of.
Well, he's bringing them up himself.
You don't want to, or he'll bring it up just couldn't fit him in under the cap, or didn't want to give up a 4th-round pick, or whatever.
Those 5th-round picks that could turn to 4th.
There is less pie.
I got it.
Valuable, Brockman.
Fully understand it.
Poor Jerry.
What a day.
Poor Jerry. Poor TJ. Because of Jerry, I'm getting roses and flowers and things. I don't deserve this.
From one of the only Knicks who made a shot last night.
How about them Cowboys?
It's all your fault, Unc.
Hey, man.
I can do it. I can play that.
Hey. It's just the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions just added DeAndre Hopkins for a struggling offensive unit run by future Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes. And that's not a bad choice. And like I said, in terms of taking the top of the defense off, that's not what he's going to do. Mm-hmm. But what he will do is just
not drop a 3rd down.
Correct, and be situationally smart and make the plays. And I can't wait to see what they do with them. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.